How can people view their addictions in a way that would help reestablish their sense of personal sovereignty? And if you are comfortable sharing, when have you struggled with addiction and how did you overcome the tendency to quote unquote escape or quote unquote dilute the issue?
Yeah, I'll go very personal with this because I think it's important because people do struggle with this. A lot of people have many addictions, and they're not always in the form of drugs or alcohol or things like that. There's just so many ways that we sort of cope with society are not healthy for us or others in the long run. That's kind of what addiction is. It's like a quick hit of a release, dopamine release, serotonin, what have you, but eventually it will fall. I think it was brought on. I was assaulted as a child, so I'm sorry if that triggers anybody, but it was something that brought about in me a disconnection with the world and myself because I felt like I was not safe, and the world was a dangerous place at that point in my youth. So when I found alcohol when I was young, that released me from that feeling of like there's got to be something wrong with me. Well, all the things that we would say to ourselves in that situation, like, I'm just unlucky or whatever it is. We sort of take the blame on ourselves for whatever traumas that we experience, especially when you're young and don't know how to handle stuff like that. So I was introduced to alcohol. It took all away that crummy feeling, and I really just didn't have to feel that at that moment. And I liked that resonated with me just to be able to have like sort of an off switch to feeling the feelings that I had of less than or not valuable as others or whatever the case might be. And that progressed over time where that was like the rabbit in the hat, like that was the trick that I knew would work. And I used it into my teen years, early 20s, and let that kind of my life was dictated by these addictions. Of course, there's a lot of suffering that goes along with that. The people around you suffer because they see that you have potential to be more, useful to yourself and society, to be more loving to yourself and society, to be, to do something other than to waste one's life away on whatever addictions that they're on.